Okay, in the next little part about deformers, we're going to move on, and this time we're going to go and talk about the relax and the smooth operators, which are very powerful and very, very useful. So let's just have a look at them. So I'm going to grab my character man, and what the relax, well, we'll start with the relax operator, and what it basically does is it, if you look at this character's back, you'll see that we have the geometric shape silhouette on the outside here, for example, but it also internally, the UV, sort of mesh shape is sort of going up like this, and it's not very clear. It'd be very hard to texture if you looked at that. So what the relaxed operator actually does is it moves the points in geometrical space while keeping the silhouette as best as it can. So if you look at that, the silhouette has been kept, but it's moved the points just to create those quads, those nice smooth surface, just sort of relaxing the tension between the edges on that. So now there's a lot of settings in here, things like feature preservation, so that, for example, it won't relax hard edges or vertices if you tick that, or won't relax or move boundary points, won't move creased edges, will consider unselected vertices, or won't, depending on what you have it ticked. Of course, again, strength, so you can connect a weight map to paint on your relax modifier if you'd like to, and then you have your sharpness and your radius right here. Now in the advanced settings, this is quite useful. Basically, the most useful thing about this is that it allows you to restrict what's happening to concave or convex surfaces. Now, if you look here in the back, we have a concave bit happening, where basically the back is going in here, and you'll see that right there it's straightened it out a bit. But on the shoulder blades, where it's convex, it's not actually relaxed it. So let's move it to convex, and you'll see that the shoulder blades will be straight, but in here we'll now have some rounding. Okay. So again, especially for things like elbows, for things like muscles bulging out, it really is useful to be able to restrict that. Again, just obviously you can weight paint on it and that sort of thing, but it just adds that much more. Now the other one here is restrict to normal direction. Basically restricts the way the points are allowed to move. So right here it's saying, okay, it's only allowed to move, every point is only allowed to be moved parallel to its normal, so in the local y-axis. And if I just select the point and select its local y-axis, you'll see basically the green here. So it's basically away from the model. Now, where that could be useful for, as an example, would be if you have a texture on there that really needs to stay in proportion, and you don't want it moving around and that sort of thing, then you'd really want this, but you might want to adjust the heights and smooth out the heights a little bit. A different example, or the different setting, would be perpendicular, which is much the opposite. So basically it's not allowed to move along the normal, but it is allowed to move sort of along its x and z coordinates, just to smooth it out in those directions, but it's not really allowed to change the height, just giving a little bit more preservation of the shape. Minimal displacement basically says a minimum amount that the vertex needs to be able to move in order for it to actually be relaxed here in this case. So it just gives it just a little bit a minimum move for the whole thing, just adding that much more. And extrapolation basically allows you to overemphasize the effect. If we just put this down, just creating just an overly powerful relax on there, and generally probably is not useful in higher settings, but maybe. Okay. So this was all on a subdivision surface. Again, it really doesn't matter if it's subdivision surface or not. And here you can set your custom filter with fall-offs and that sort of thing, allowing you to just really customize it down to the last detail about how far and how much the neighborhood will be taken into consideration when smoothing and relaxing it. So the other side of this is the relax and the smooth operator actually share the same node and the same functionality, but they are slightly different. So basically that was the relax, and now we'll just go on to smooth. And basically what smooth does is very much the same thing, but it doesn't try and preserve the volume. So if I really increase that, you'll see that it really is smoothing it out in all directions. And again, I can restrict it here if I want, for example, just to be parallel or only perpendicular. And here, as long as it's restricted to perpendicular, you're going to be getting a lot more retention of the actual shape and silhouette of the geometry, because it's only allowed to smooth in along the x and z coordinates of the vertex in local space. But again, you'll have the same settings, and the main difference is that it's not trying as much to retain the volume of the actual object original geometry. Okay.